Welcome back to Deb Talks. Again, Deb Owen.
And Lupe Castaneda here.
And I do have to point out our fabulous new sign. I think that is amazing.
I know.
I'm so excited when we got that in. So, welcome home. Um, Anyways, today's Deb Talks are, do we want to just jump right in or?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and just get started. March 18th, I know we celebrated St. Patrick's Day. But today is, and the reason I'm pointing this out is because I happen to be a gal that loves sloppy joes. So today is National Sloppy Joe Day.
It is.
It is.
Oh,
It is. And
well, now I know what I'm having for dinner.
I think that's what I'm doing for dinner as well.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the sloppy joe.
No.
And then it is also National Awkward Moments Day.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know we've all had an awkward moment, but
We just
our
had
moments. We just had one.
We just
so.
had one. I
Yes,
didn't know
we
that was a
did.
thing.
Yes, so what is it? Yeah, so today is National Awkward Moment Day as well. So
Okay.
there you have it.
Well, that's fun. Thanks, Lupe.
You're very welcome.
Oh, in the end, too, I'm going to leave you with a credit hack because after last week's episode, I realized that we didn't give a really quick credit hack, and I'd been asked about it quite a bit. So that'll be at the end.
Okay,
can't-
looking forward to it.
I can't forget.
No, we'll be
Okay.
fine. It won't forget.
Today, what we want to visit about is total cost to do your home.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, people are constantly thinking a down payment, right?
Yeah, that's usually that's what we think about.
Which is a big one, and we're
Yeah.
gonna go deeper into down payments, different loan types there, in a later episode.
Mhm.
But there's always more involved than just a down payment.
Yeah, there's several fees that go on to get this home
Yeah.
loan.
And so how do you know? What do you know is legit and what isn't legitimate?
Yes.
So we're gonna touch bases a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
And what I did, Lupe, I hope you don't mind, what I did is
Don't mind at all.
I printed off a couple,
Oh, this is fantastic. Yeah.
oh, thanks.
Yeah, this is really good.
So I printed off a couple different ways you might see this total cost to do your loan. Okay, so a lot of times lenders will print off to you what's called an initial fees worksheet. And always, and especially once you have a loan, then there is the official, or LE as you'll hear it called.
Mhm.
These are going to tell you the exact same thing in just different formats. My opinion only, this one's a little bit easier to read and maybe understand.
I was just going to ask you that. Which one's easier to understand?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a one-page form.
Mhm.
Everything is there. It's just not the legal one that is required by compliance once you're under contract or moving forward with a home loan.
Mhm.
Okay.
And when you initially come in and start talking about your home loan, you're given your, let's say you're giving your pre-approval letter and you're given the fee, this first one, right?
Right.
Per se,
Right.
kind of an estimate, right? An estimate.
Yes.
And that's when I feel that people or your lender should be explaining to you
Absolutely.
all of those fees, even though they're just an estimation, but that way you're not caught off guard. Or what do you
Exactly.
think?
And that's knowing your numbers. That's not just the down payment. That's knowing your true cost to get into a home or cost to refinance your home
Mhm.
for any reason. That's needing to know true numbers. And I'm just going to say this. I might be very unpopular at the moment for saying this, but I'm going to tell you, we see a lot of people hiding these numbers. A ton of online lenders
Mhm.
that don't actually give out these numbers to
Yeah.
you. Legally, they are required.
Yeah.
And then we see, you know what, several even local people doing close to the same thing.
Mhm.
So if you know what to look for, there aren't going to be any hidden surprises in the end. Because I can guarantee you, these fees are going to be charged, whether you're informed of them or not going in. And that's why knowing your numbers, knowing what to look for, actually is going to help you out tremendously.
True transparency.
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
True transparency. Then if you shop,
Then shop around. Who
right,
cares?
shop your lender.
That's great.
We don't mind.
No,
Shop your lender,
needs to be done.
but know what you're looking for.
Right.
Know
So because
Upfront,
we
what do you
touched
look for?
bases on that first,
Mhm.
I'm gonna dive into that piece
Perfect.
first.
Yeah,
Is that,
it's important.
okay?
Yeah.
It is important,
Mhm.
because honestly, so lender fees are going to be included in here. And lender fees, and I've highlighted them on this one, again, it's the same on this form, it's just in a different, oh, I highlighted on here too. Who knew what I did? But it's the same on this also. So there are lender fees that are involved. And truly, honestly, lender fees are going to be shown on either one of these
Mhm.
as an underwriting fee. It can be shown as processing fees. It can be shown as, I think what we have here is a funding fee. It can be shown as an application fee. So those are things that are truly lender fees, and those do vary from lender to lender. Um, I personally know what the local lenders are charging, but you need to know that.
Yeah.
There is phenomenal great local lender here in town that lumps them all into one category.
Mhm.
That's okay. Probably easier and clearer to read. We do have the two that we put out there, but those are lender fees. So know what those are in comparison to third party fees on a loan.
Yes. Yes. So yes.
Okay?
Yep. Third party fees.
Yes,
Yeah.
and every loan requires a third party fees.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go over what those are, and on this loan estimator, obviously, I didn't put the borrower's name and information on there. Um, on the loan estimator, it might be a little bit more clear because it's really gonna tell you what the cost is there. And then it's gonna talk to you about third party fees, where this legal one, and I know it's legal, but that is the one we all abide by because of the Dodd-Frank rule. It looks a lot different than this clean one-page form, but again, it's still in here. It's all about loan cost and then what you can shop for and where you, and what those are the fees I'm gonna go over with right
Mhm.
now.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
If there's an appraisal required on your loan, I'm gonna say it that way. A lender will not know if an appraisal is required or not until they have a contract and run it through what's called our AUS system.
Mhm.
So it needs to be quoted out to you at the front.
Yeah.
If it's waived during the transaction, that's great. It needs to be quoted and disclosed to you,
Mhm. And why? Why?
and why.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah.
and
Why?
those are gonna be a variance, and that's because the property type will determine what the fee is,
Mhm.
where the property is.
Mhm.
So for the most part, when you're first getting underway, your lender is gonna quote you. I would quote out an average of what those things are,
Mhm.
okay? So that's the fee that is third party, that's gonna be required for your loan. Then there's credit report fees. Lenders can charge different fees for the credit report fee, so, but typically, they're gonna be $100 or less. I know that's high, cause when you start adding the fees, it starts to add up.
Yeah.
But most of the time, you're gonna see them at below $100. In fact, I would say a good average is about $60
Mhm.
should be what your credit report fees are gonna run you. Um, then there's flood certification fees, that's no, I don't care.
Yeah.
And people are like,
Yeah.
oh, how do you know? Oh, I don't need a flood certification fee.
Right.
I'm not buying or have a property in a flood zone.
Yeah.
A flood cert is required on every time we do a mortgage, just to make sure we pull the information from FEMA to make sure that the home is not in a flood zone.
Mhm.
Or in our area, we do have some pockets in Twin that are in a flood zone.
Mhm.
And a lot of Gooding is in a flood zone. So in our area, FEMA did come in last year.
Mhm.
And they revisited the guideline or the boundaries in the Gooding area, so
Yeah.
you now may not be in a flood zone, so,
Mhm.
but every time you do a loan, that's a fee that's being charged.
And then, so if I am in a flood zone, then do I have to pay for flood insurance?
Absolutely, yes.
Mhm.
If you are in a flood zone, it is required, if you have a mortgage on your home, to make sure you have flood insurance on that home. which is an additional cost above home insurance that's required on the loan.
And on this, Debbie, typically when we get our loan, these fees, we don't pay for anything up front until we get to the closing table.
That is correct.
But the flood insurance is one that would need to be paid before, correct?
If you're required to put flood insurance on your home, that is one that does need to be required in order for a lender to close on the home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's not a fee we're collecting.
No.
That's actually to pay for your
To
flood
pay for
insurance.
it, yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, just to differentiate, just so that you know, and this is what it's about.
Right.
So that you know
But you know
what
what,
to expect.
Lupe, you brought up a really good point
Mhm.
about paying for something first up front.
Yeah,
Be leery of somebody that wants to collect money up front for you to do this, because you shouldn't be having to pay any lender
Mhm.
to do your initial fees worksheets and get you your true numbers. The time that you're gonna be paying is if, and this is a lender to lender, but if the lender, you're going with them and they wanna get done, and they have to order an appraisal.
yes.
Okay, there is a lot of lenders that do charge for that appraisal up front, because if something happens, that cost is still there and they've gotta pay for it. So that really should be your only fee that you're paying, and that will be at the time that you are either under contract or doing a refinancing and need to move forward,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
Anytime anybody wants fees before that, that's a red flag. So watch for that.
Yeah, watch for those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there are people that want to collect those application fees and validation fees, whatever they want to call it. I wouldn't do that.
And if we are not doing your loan and you just have a question about it,
Oh, gosh.
feel free to call us, please call us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Reach out to us.
reach out to us, yeah.
So then back into the fees. In Idaho, and this is just, every state has specific title fees, title escrow fees, title insurance fees, lawyer closing fees. And we're gonna dive deeper into
Yeah.
title next week.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a special guest on and we're super excited for her.
Yeah, stay tuned to that. That's
Yeah.
gonna be really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there are title fees involved in a loan. Online lenders are really good about not disclosing that.
Mhm.
And then when you go under contract, go, oh, now I need to go get the fees specific to your state. They're there. They're always there. They're not gonna be different. So you need to know what those are up front.
Correct.
And they are going to be things like title insurance, okay? Escrow closing fee. They're going to be wire fees, CPL transfer, CPL fees, recording fees. Those are the settlement statement fees. I went over that already, sorry. There's gonna be doc prep fees with the title companies. Those are the fees that are going to be state specific, and they're gonna be price specific, okay? So if you've got title insurance and escrow closing fees, that is your loan amount is going to determine what those costs are. So when you're first looking at something, it's still going to be an estimate,
Mhm.
but your lender, we know the fees at every title company are gonna run you the same. We have that information. We have the ability to go and say, okay, if you wanna get approved for, and I think this one was a $565 purchase price. If you want to go shopping at $565, I'm going to quote you fees based off title insurance on that amount.
Mhm.
If you're getting approved for 350 or 250 or $1 million, it does not matter. When we are doing the approval numbers, that is the information you're going to need to see for the title insurance and the escrow closing fees. Recording fees are gonna be just a little bit variance, but still pretty similar in nature, because it's, a dollar amount per page. Your wire fees with the title companies, your admin fees with the title companies, those are all gonna be the same. So those really shouldn't change.
Mhm.
Your endorsements, I'm naming off a lot of things
Yeah.
because there's a lot of those there. But those are pretty similar in nature, and they should all be close enough
Mhm.
that really it's going to be your title insurance and your closing escrow fee that might change a little bit once you actually do go into contract. but you need to see that spelled out in black and white to you. So if those things are not on your initial fees worksheet, you first of all need to go to a lender that's transparent and will
Yes.
get that information to you.
Yeah.
Because it might look like somebody's cheaper simply because they don't disclose that until the end.
So you should be walking away from your initial meeting or after you've gotten a pre-approval with those fees, correct?
Absolutely,
Correct?
absolutely. There is no reason that you should not have those fees readily available.
That's the true transparency.
Yes.
Mhm.
Another fee is going to be, I should have backed up on this one. There are some lenders that charge an origination fee. There's some loans that require an origination. An origination fee does not buy your rate down,
Yes.
okay? It's the cost to get that loan, period. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying pay attention. Because in the state of Idaho, clear transparency, any loan that is sold to Idaho Housing and Association, which is a phenomenal place to get
Oh, yeah.
loans. They do charge 1% origination. Okay, so that is just straight across the board. But there's other programs that a lender may charge you to have. I'm not saying all lenders do it, just know the difference between an origination
Mhm.
and a discount point. Because what you should typically be seeing is typically only discount points. Typically, I'm not saying always, typically.
Typically.
A discount point is another fee to get a rate.
Mhm.
Okay, in our area, not all areas, because up in other pockets of Idaho, and we know which counties that are like that, it's very common to see 1% discount point
Mhm.
on the fee sheet that we're disclosing to you. And basically, in this situation, not every situation, this one, the borrower wants to pay one discount point to get the current rate of 6.5%.
Mhm.
That's buying to a certain rate. If that borrower opted not to pay that for whatever reason, and that happens, that's okay, then instead of 6.5, that rate might be 6.875 or even 7%. Okay, so a discount point that you see on any one of these is to get you a certain rate. You need to have the conversation with your lender.
And know the difference.
Know the
Like
difference.
just, yeah. What am I, is this just,
Is it worth it to
Is it
pay a
worth it?
discount point?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
You need to see that in black and white because it might not always be worth to pay a discount point. If I was talking to a buyer,
Yeah.
you're the same way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're only gonna be in there short term, our goal is, 12 months or 18 months.
Mhm.
Does it then make sense to pay that discount point or are you throwing your money away?
because I think a lot of people, when they are thinking, oh, it's gonna be, I wanna pay,
Well, you want the best rate. Everybody wants the best rate. I
Of
get
course, yeah,
I get that.
yes. But it's, they're
Financially
charging,
speaking,
yeah, it
does it
doesn't
make sense for you?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Does it?
it doesn't matter what I think.
Yeah.
It matters what makes sense for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as it gets calculated out, what is it gonna
What's
cost?
what's the breakdown?
Yeah, what's the
What's the
breakdown?
cost breakdown for that?
Yes, you
And we
need
can
to know.
easily do that for
Oh,
you.
there.
And if your lender isn't, then we need to talk.
So know the
But-
difference between the origination and the
And
discount.
a discount point.
Yes.
Yes. And again, it's going to be here as such. Okay. So that's again, it's not a lender fee per se, unless it's an origination,
Yes.
but it is, the discount point is still going to show on here where it's gonna be to buy the rate down.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then there's other cost. We're not done.
Oh,
Yay, we're not
I
done.
know.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
that's why it's so important for you to know this.
Yes.
And that's the property taxes
Yeah, property taxes,
and home insurance.
home insurance.
Flood if you're required to pay flood. Unfortunately, if you're buying a house, you might not know if there's flood insurance until you actually have a property address.
Yes.
Unless you are buying in Gooding, Idaho, and I love Gooding, Idaho. I think it's a beautiful community.
Yeah,
actually.
great.
Know great people over there. Just know if you're buying over there, you potentially could. So you need to be talking to your lender about, I gotta look and see.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just need to know that.
Yeah, you just need to know.
So when you have property taxes and home insurance, and they are impounding in your account or actually being added to your monthly payment,
Mhm.
okay? You'll hear it
You also hear the word escrowed.
escrow.
Mhm.
Right, you're gonna hear escrow a few times in this, and it means a couple different things, but if
Yes.
it's in your payment, that terminology is escrowed or impounded.
Mhm.
We as a lender has to collect on a home insurance and or flood if you do that.
Yes.
We have to collect 1 full year of home insurance up front
Mhm.
and pay it out when we close the loan. Home insurance is not like auto insurance where you can pay it monthly.
Yeah.
You have to be paid 1 full year in advance.
Mhm.
So we pre-collect that 1 year.
Mhm.
So when you're doing an estimate, those are things that if you're comparing a lender to a lender, no lender has control over because it's going to be what it's going to be. We can give our best guess, and that's all we're doing. Is especially on home insurance, that one is, and we're going to have a guest for home insurance
Yes.
too,
Yes.
on in the future. But if we just guess what the home insurance is going to be, we collect and pay that out at the front, and then we have to collect if you're putting that in your monthly payment, a couple extra months. So we literally will take
Mhm.
what your annual payment is for insurance divided by 12 goes in your payment, and we collect 2 months worth of that to get that escrow
Escrow.
account started. Those are prepaid items.
And the other thing is that the reason they need to be paid up front is because the only way to get that insurance company to bind you to protect the property,
That policy.
the policy needs to be paid up front. So that's why we have to collect that upfront at the closing table so that we can
Okay.
get that binded.
Yep.
Which we'll have the agent when they're here talk more about it. And then as well with the flood insurance, we need to have that issued because it's issued by FEMA, correct? Or the policy
Right.
per se. So that needs to also be paid upfront. But that needs to be paid before the closing though, the flood insurance.
Right.
That needs to be the only one that would need to be paid before.
But it's still, but
But it
anyhow,
still should
let's
be-
go back to your prepaid items.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so the other thing that is a prepaid item is property taxes. We have to collect, from you, on the day we close your loan, we have to put in escrow enough property taxes, so we find out what the property taxes are annually,
Mhm.
and we divide it by 12. And then we have to collect enough money to put in that escrow account that when the taxes are due the next time, enough money's there to pay. Okay, so those are prepaid items. Now granted, we collect quite a bit from the seller because the seller is required to pay the taxes from the day we close the loan to, or excuse me, from the last time the taxes were paid
Mhm.
to the day we close your loan. So we collect that larger amount from them, depending on what time of year it is,
Mhm.
and put it in your escrow account, but then we are gonna collect a couple extra months from you also. In Idaho only, property taxes are paid every June and December.
Mhm.
So depending on when you pay we're closing your loan is depending on how much money we have to have sitting in that account. If you close your loan in May, we're gonna need to collect 5 months of taxes plus a couple extra to have that account balance always going.
Mhm.
Okay, we close in June, the June and December are the hardest too,
Yeah.
because it's depending if they're paid out yet or not, but we might only collect 2 months worth of that.
Mhm.
But those are items that are prepaid that are on this that you need to know about because there's still costs to do the loan.
Yeah.
Those are costs involved. And then the last prepaid item you're going to see is days worth of interest. Because we will, as a mortgage lender,
Mhm.
every mortgage lender does this.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay? We will collect interest from the day we close your loan to the last day of that month. We close a loan on the 15th of the month, we're gonna either close 15 or 16, collect 15 or 16 days of interest, depending on if you've got 30 or 31 days in your month.
Mhm.
We close the last day of the month, we're gonna collect one. So we close the first part of a month, we're gonna collect 30 days worth of interest.
Yeah.
So those are prepaid interest because the reason lenders do that
Mhm.
is whatever month you close, you skip a month before you make your first mortgage payment. So you close, we're in March, right?
Yeah.
We're in March.
Not much.
We close any day in March, you will not have a mortgage payment in April.
Mhm.
You will have your first one due May 1st. So that is why we have to pre-collect that those days of interest.
Mhm.
Because if we do not, your loan will not amortize for the correct period of time.
Mhm. Yes.
So those are truly all the fees that are involved in doing a loan.
Mhm.
Whether it's lender paid, or excuse me, lender charged fees, whether it's origination or discount points,
Mhm.
title fees, and all your prepaid items. So when you walk away from your consultation with us,
Mhm.
you will have a clear picture of exactly what you need. We can be off a few $100s,
Mhm.
but we should never be off more than that.
Yeah, hence it's the word estimate.
Yes.
Estimate. So,
Yeah.
because I've had several people ask me when I meet with my clients, which are the fees that I can go out and shop for? Can I shop for any of these? Or is it that you're gonna gather them for me and I won't have an option to shop for?
Well, you can shop for them.
Mhm.
But lenders have the responsibility, it's who we do the business with,
Mhm.
on how we have, whatever bill we get, we're going to show you at the end, this is what the bill came into.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can shop for title insurance and escrow, but I can tell you right now in the state of Idaho, it's all calculated the same.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter, it's all calculated the same.
Yeah, so in that sense,
So there might be some credits on refinances and stuff, but
Mhm.
those,
yeah,
for
that's
the
it.
most part, what you've got.
And that's what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so know your numbers. Yep. So I want to quickly,
Yes, quickly, because
anything we left out?
no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so quickly, a quick credit hack to bump your scores up quickly. If you have a credit card, this only works with credit cards.
Yeah.
Call your credit card company, ask what day they report to the credit bureau. Make sure your balance on your credit card is 30% or less on the day before they report to the bureau. If you do that, your scores will jump. Then you can use your card like you normally do, okay? Give you other credit hacks. But again, make sure and pay it to 30% or below just before it reports to the bureau.
That's awesome.
And I am telling you,
Yeah.
I have seen client after client do that, and their scores can jump anywhere from 50 to 80 points, which gets you better interest rates on everything credit. So, anyway, anything else you want to add, Lupe?
No, I just want to wish everybody a happy day and
We'll see you next week.
we'll see you next week.